In this video, I'm going to talk about how to improve your IELTS Task 2 writing by writing an effective thesis statement. This video is brought to you by Spanglish is Cool. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook for more tips on how to improve your IELTS score. In this video, we'll look at how to write an effective thesis statement for every type of IELTS essay. In our last video, we talked about the different types of IELTS essay, and now we will look at the thesis statements for each. Now, it's important to remember that the thesis statement is the most important part of an essay, as it tells the reader exactly what they will read about in the essay. So let's get started. First, let's take a look at what not to write. Here are 3 examples of thesis statements that are not effective for the IELTS essay. The first, this essay will discuss the advantages and disadvantages of having strict punishments for students who break rules. The second, in this essay, I will explore the problems of obesity and suggest possible solutions. And the third, this essay will argue in favor of having electric-only cars on the road by 2040. These are not actually thesis statements. They are more like outline statements that are actually more suitable for a longer academic piece of writing. For the IELTS, we want to avoid any phrase that starts with "this essay will discuss" or "in this essay I will." We want to avoid all of that, and we just want to write a simple thesis statement. Now, let's look at the position of the thesis statement. The thesis statement comes in the introduction. And here I have an example introduction for you. It says, "It is believed by some that school children should not participate in contact sports because they have a higher risk of getting injured. However, I believe that they should in fact play these sports because they help children keep fit and they build teamwork." Now, the thesis statement is this part, the second sentence. And the thesis statement should be the final sentence or sentences of your introduction. Now, usually it is one sentence, but if it gets too long, you can definitely divide it between the 2 sentences. So, important to remember that your introduction should always end with the thesis statement. Now, let's look at the objective of the thesis statement in the essay. Here is the sample question. Some people think that children should not play contact sports at school because they're too dangerous. To what extent do you agree? And this is my thesis statement. I believe that they should in fact play these sports because they help children keep fit and they build teamwork. So, the objective of the thesis statement is, first of all, to answer the question you've been asked and to also mention the points you will explore in the body paragraphs. And this is what makes the thesis statement slightly different for each type of essay that you have to write for the IELTS exam. So, let's look at the structure of the thesis statement for each type of essay. First, the opinion essay. The sample question is the same. Some people think that children should not play contact sports at school because they are too dangerous. To what extent do you agree? So your thesis statement has to answer the question by giving your opinion and the 2 main reasons you will develop in the essay. Here is an example. I believe that they should in fact play these sports, that's That's my opinion. Because they help children keep fit. That's my first reason. And they build teamwork. That's my second reason. So, in your thesis statement for an opinion essay, simply give your opinion and mention the two main reasons you will develop in the essay. Now, let's look at a discussion essay. Now, the discussion has two versions because there's two types of discussion questions. The first one could be like this. Some people think that children should not play contact sports at school because they are too dangerous, while others believe they are a good form of exercise. Discuss both sides. So, in my thesis statement, all I have to do is paraphrase each side of the argument that is in the question. For example, it is considered by some that school children should not participate in contact sports because they have a higher chance of getting injured. That's one side of the argument. Whereas others think that they help kids to keep fit. That's the second side of the argument. Okay? Now, for the discussion version 2, the question is slightly different because it not only says discuss both sides, it also says and give your opinion. So for this thesis statement, that's exactly what you have to do. Paraphrase each side of the argument and give your opinion and principal reasons. This is an example of a thesis statement that I would definitely split over 2 sentences. For example, it is considered by some that school children should not participate in contact sports because they have a higher chance of getting injured, whereas others think that they help kids to keep fit. That's my paraphrase of each side of the argument. And then I believe that they should play contact sports, my opinion, as they are not only beneficial to their health, but also builds teamwork. Those are my reasons that I will explore in the essay. So see the difference? For this discuss both sides question, you do not need to give your opinion. But for this type of question, discuss both sides and give your opinion, it is necessary to put your opinion right there in the thesis statement. Moving on to advantages and disadvantages. Our sample question. Some people think that children should not play contact sports at school. What are the advantages and disadvantages? What do you have to include? The main advantage and the main disadvantage that you will develop in the body paragraphs. Now, I know if you have been practicing a lot these types of essays and you've been looking at model answers, you will see that usually each body paragraph includes maybe 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages. You do not need to include all of these advantages and disadvantages in your thesis. You just take the first advantage and the first disadvantage. These are the most important ones that you should include in the thesis. For example, the principal advantage of playing contact sports is that they keep children fit and healthy, while a disadvantage is the higher possibility of getting injured compared to other sports. So you have one advantage and one disadvantage, and these are the ones that you will develop in your body paragraphs. So let's look at the difference between advantage and disadvantage and outweigh. Our essay question is pretty similar. However, the question asks not only what are the advantages and disadvantages, but do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? So in your thesis statement, you have to say which one you think is more important and give your main advantage and disadvantage. So you could say, I believe that the advantages of school children playing contact sports outweigh the disadvantages because even though there is a higher possibility of injury, they help to keep children fit and healthy. So, not only am I giving my advantage and disadvantage, but I'm telling you right in the thesis statement which one outweighs the other. So, that's the difference between an advantage and disadvantage and an outweigh essay. You've got to give your opinion in the thesis statement about which one is more important. Okay, let's look at the solution essay. And for the solution essay, we're going to change up the essay question just a little bit. It says, in many countries, there is a rising number of children who are obese. What measures can be taken to prevent this? So remember, this is only solution. It's not asking you about the problems related to obesity. It's not asking you for the cause of obesity. It just wants you to write about the solutions. So in your thesis statement, you have to give the two main solutions you will develop in your body paragraphs. Again, your essay might have more than two solutions. However, you want to pick your principal solution from body paragraph 1 and your principal solution from body paragraph 2. And those are the ones that you should include in your thesis. For example, two possible solutions to tackle the problem of obesity among children are increasing the amount of sports students play at school, reason is solution 1, and improving the quality of school food, solution 2. Okay, now let's take a look at problem and solution. A similar essay question to begin with, however, now it's asking us what problems does this cause and what measures can be taken to prevent this. So if we look at what to include, we want to give the principal problem and the principal solution that you will develop in your body paragraphs. Again, I mentioned the word principal because in that first body paragraph, you might have two problems, but you should pick the main one, the most important one. And the same for solution. Pick your most important solution. Even although you name more than one, it is not necessary to put everything into the thesis. So your thesis statement could look like this. The main problem of the growing levels of obesity among children is the health problems that they could suffer when they are older. That's my problem. A possible solution could be to increase the amount of physical education lessons in the school curriculum. That is my solution. One problem, one solution in the thesis. Cause solution is very similar, but remember, instead of talking about the problems, we're talking about the causes. So our question will change a little bit to why is this the case and what measures can be taken to prevent this. So you have to include the principal cause and principal solution that you will develop in your body paragraphs. For example, the main cause of the growing levels of obesity among children is that they are not doing enough physical activity each day. That's the cause. And a possible solution could be to increase the amount of sports classes in the school curriculum. There's my solution. Now, let's take a look at the direct question. Now, you remember from our first video, the direct question does not fit into any of the other categories of questions. You have two pretty different questions to answer in this essay. Okay, so our essay question could be, in many countries there is a rising number of children who are obese. Why is this the case? And what impact can this have in later life? So simply, your thesis statement has to answer both questions in one or two sentences. And you will develop these ideas in the rest of the essay. For example, the main cause of the growing levels of obesity among children is that they are not doing enough physical activity each day. This could have a negative impact on children's health when they are older. So we answered each question in a separate sentence. And that is your thesis statement for the direct question. If you need extra help, download my free infographic below for more examples of effective thesis statements for every type of IELTS essay. Thanks for watching today's video, how to improve your IELTS Task 2 writing by writing an effective thesis statement. And don't forget to check out more tips on IELTS, not just writing, but also speaking, reading and listening on my Instagram page, Spanglish School, and check me out on Facebook too. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.